with all sense of humility, I say, sir, as a prosecutor, that this court has no discretion in that regard, and that the only sentence that your lordship will impose for counts 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 is death sentence. This court has the power to do so, and with respect must do so. The language of the act is clear, and the court is urged to apply it strictly without deviation. For the
WY, and he did not object to same. The container itself contains several household items which appear to be covered for the transmitter concealed in it. The prosecution has led evidence to show that the transmitter was smuggled into the country without sale being declared to custom. That the cover of the household item was used to disguise its true content. The surrounding facts also show that the purpose for which the defendant intended to use the transmitter was to broadcast program on radio diaphragm, and this makes it conceal the transmitter. This is also not. There is also no evidence that Radio Biafra is registered with the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, as stated by PW4. Thus, it is safe to conclude that the concealment of transmitter is in furtherance of the illegal operation of Radio Biafra by the defendant. The defendant, as a consequence of resting his case on the prosecution, did not call any witness to report the evidence of the prosecution, neither did he lead any evidence to counter the evidence of the prosecution. There is no evidence before this court stating the transmitter was lawfully imported into Nigeria. The defendant had the duty to present evidence and failed to report the allegation made against him, but he failed and deliberately refused to do so. The court is therefore bound to believe the evidence of the prosecution. Consequently, the court hereby convicts the defendant of count 7 of the charge. I must say here that defendants have always claimed to be a freedom fighter, seeking justice for his people. Indeed, this is known in law as the right to self-determination. The right to self-determination is a political right recognized in several international instruments. Article 1 of the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, provides, and I quote, "All people have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural developments." Unquote. The right to self-determination also entails the right of a group of people to form their political entity or their own government. Article 20 of the African Charter on Women and People's Rights also provides, and I quote, "All people shall have the right to existence. They shall have the unquestionable and inalienable right to self-determination. They shall freely determine their political status and shall pursue their economic and social development according to the policy they have freely chosen." 2. Colonized or oppressed people shall have the right to free themselves from the bond of domination by resorting to any means recognized by the international community. 3. All people shall have the right to the assistance of the state parties to the present charter in their liberation struggle against foreign domination, be it political, economic, or cultural. Unquote. Nigeria has domesticated the African Charter, which is known as the African Charter on Women and People's Rights, Ratification and Enforcement Rights, which means the provisions of the Charter are enforceable in Nigeria, provided they do not conflict with the clear provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Section 2(1) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended makes it clear that Nigeria is an indivisible state, which means there is no room for division. The said section provides, and I quote, "Nigeria is one indivisible, indissoluble sovereign state, to be known by the name Federal Republic of Nigeria, unquote. This means that anyone agitating for a breakup of the Federation of Nigeria is going against the Constitution. However, any person agitating for self-determination can do so through the National Assembly seeking for amendments of the Constitution regarding the indivisibility of Nigeria and to reflect the recognition of the agitating state. It is after this that the procedure can be said to be completed, but not excluding a referendum. Any self-determination not done in accordance with the Constitution and laws of the country will be illegal. The defendant is not only agitating for secession of the states of the Southeast, South, and some Middle Belt states. He is doing so using terrorism as a weapon. Terrorism has become a monster in the world today, and several groups have continued to use this weapon to form separate governments. In Nigeria, groups like Boko Haram, Lakurawa, IPOP have in recent years troubled Nigeria with terrorist activities. This terror group, by their activities, has denied innocent people the enjoyment of their fundamental rights. The action of the defendant and his terrorist organization have led to the bloodshed of innocent citizens, as well as security personnel who were going about their legitimate duty. His incitement through the broadcast on Radio Biafra as well as the social media platform of the group has led to the destruction of lives and property, as well as affect the daily life of his people of Southeast. The defendant did not only threaten the government of Nigeria, but his own people. This is seen in a broadcast while addressing the death of one of the commander of IPOP, named Ikozo. The defendant on 25th day of April 2021 made a broadcast where he stated, and I quote, Ikozo was not killed on the battlefield, but was killed in his village in the middle of the night. Not on the battlefield, because of the battlefield, no army or police can defeat him. Ever since Eastern Security Network was launched, I have not seen anybody tell me that their life have not improved since it was launched. Around 21 minutes marked, the defendant stated, vengeance is a monster of appetite, forever blood-tasty, never filled. Ikozo is in heaven. He is going to be revenged, and by God, he will be revenged. All those who had hand in Ikozo death are all dead. People walking, all of them. He also stated that Ikozo will be mourned in a special way, just like how the Oba of Bini is buried, with human heads. That he said Ikozo is more than an Oba. Thank you. There is no doubt that this is contained in the broadcast. The defendant's statement was corroborated by PW4, who stated that upon the arrest of one of the IPOP commander named as Onye Army, he informed them that they were only to get 30 heads of human out of 2,000 heads of, as ordered by the defendant. This court is aware that the said Onye Army was not caught as a witness in this case, and this may affect the probative value of his evidence. However, this evidence is being used as corroboration to the statement made by the defendant himself, admitted by the statement of, and is admitted as a defendant for that purpose. Corroboration refers to supporting or additional piece of evidence that supports another evidence. See Ogunbayo and the state citation supplied, where the Supreme Court held, and I quote, corroboration having been held not to be a technical terms of all, means no more than evidence tending to confirm, support, and strengthen other evidence sought to be corroborated. This evidence is to corroborate the evidence the statements of the defendants, I must say here that the prosecution witnesses were consistent and calm in the giving of the evidence. Their calm demeanor, despite provocative questions under cross-examination, shows that them to be witness of truth. I carefully observed them, and the only conclusion to reach is that they are witness of truth. And this court readily believed them. The defendants, on the other side, from its attitude in court, was truly very cocky, arrogant. He even stated that no court can convict him. This is a direct affront on the power of the court, which this court will not take for granted, but will do justice. It is interesting to note that the defendants who claimed, although I'm not really persuaded, but I must temper justice with mercy. The court is moved by chapter 23, verse 23 of Matthew, in the book of Matthew, to the fact that, who unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin, and has omitted the weightier matter of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. This you ought to have done, particularly, and must notice the words in Matthew 23 and verse 23, the word mercy. Our Lord himself is merciful. No matter what we do, he is a merciful God. It is on that note that the court will follow this above admonition of Jesus Christ in the above passage and show mercy to the convicts. In addition, the death penalty globally is now being frowned upon by the international community. Consequently, and in the interest of justice, I hereby sentence the convicts to life imprisonment for the said counts 1, 4, 5, and 6 instead of death sentence. Life is sacred to God. With respect to count 3, he is hereby sentenced to 20 years imprisonment without no option or fine. For count 7, he is sentenced to 5 years imprisonment without no option or fine. To extend the mercy, I hereby order that the sentence shall run concurrently. And due to the nature of the offenses that borders on terrorism and the attitude, violent nature of the defendants that I have taken judicial notice. The last adjourned date, he was so unruly and expressed violence, even was about to beat the security officers there. This morning, he repeated same.